The government will spend just over $200 million on ports and factories as part of this drive to quadruple Britain's offshore wind capacity. The new pledge covers homes, which account for only a third of electricity demand in the UK. The rest goes to businesses. And electricity only supplies 17% of total energy. So there's a long way to go before the economy is decarbonised. Tom Burke is the chairman of E3G, a green think tank, and is a former advisor to the UK government on environmental policy.
It is a bold ambition, and I think the Prime Minister is right to recognise the enormous potential of offshore wind in the UK, which will be very good not just for the climate and for consumers, but also for the economy as a whole. But he does need to be careful not to overpromise. The wind blows everywhere, and we're not actually the leaders in the wind technology yet. So we're not about to replace Saudi Arabia.
Well, the British Prime Minister did say that Saudi Arabia is to oil as the UK is to wind. But homes account for only a third of electricity demand. The rest is offices and factories. What kind of investment would be needed to get to a situation where all electricity demand is met from renewable sources?
Oh, I think we're sort of starting off on the path to do that already. That's not so much a technology option as how we go faster than a course we're already on to use the increasing range and cheapness of storage so that we can manage the intermittence of wind and solar and meet all of our electricity demand from renewable sources. But it's important to remember the government's also investing some almost £3 billion in improving the energy efficiency of our homes, more on other buildings. And so we're going to be driving electricity demand down, as well as making it possible to meet energy demand for that from renewable sources.
Now, Boris Johnson said that, as well as lots of electrical devices, he said that cookers and heating systems will be powered by wind power. Now, in my home and in many, many others, they are powered by gas. So do you think he is talking about moving away from gas and making people adopt electrical heating, electric cookers?
Yeah, I think he is over time, but I don't think that's something that's at the absolute cutting edge of doing it now. What we need to do now is get the right electricity system. And in time, as we build new houses, as houses are renovated, then we will move increasingly to use electricity for heating. We're already lowering the electricity use in houses for lighting simply by shifting to LEDs. Heating is the one area that is more difficult. And for heating, that's why the energy efficiency component of this approach is so important, because the more energy efficient we make our houses, the less energy you need to put into them to keep them comfortable, and you keep getting bills down. So I don't think there's a real problem there. I think if you tried to say to people, you've got to change overnight, you clearly would get big consumer reluctance. But that's the same if you tried to do what another one of the ideas out there is, that somehow we can change to hydrogen and put hydrogen into our gas boilers, which would mean people having to replace their boilers.
So put a date on it. When do you think many people might be told that they have to stop using their traditional radiators and adopt some kind of electric-powered heating system?
Well, my sense is the point at which you're going to have to tell people to do that is some way off. But you don't get far in this kind of big transformational change by trying to do it by forcing people to do something they don't want to do. You do it by getting the right priorities, having a consistency in your policy so that people, in a sense, see the direction of travel and adapt to stick with it. It's not a question of big stick. It's a question of how you combine carrots and sticks.
And when it comes to the cost of all of this to consumers, you expect energy bills to have to go up to pay for all of this?
No, I don't. I expect energy bills over time to go down if you do it in the right way. I mean, you've got to remember, energy consumption in our homes has been going down for most of the last decade because we've been getting more efficient. Now, prices have gone up sometimes simply because the cost of gas fluctuates a lot. But in fact, we've been making the overall efficiency of the way we use energy better for some time. I think there's a fair amount of scaremongering and actually bad analysis of people suggesting that this is all going to cost more. Why would you think a more efficient system would end up costing you more?
Tom Burke there, the chairman of E3G.